Today I'm going to cover making use of some of the best culinary gold that can be found in your kitchen. That is the little bits that are stuck under the bottom of the pan after cooking a piece of meat. You will get this after searing a steak or cooking a roast. This is called fond and is step one in making many sauces and essential for making gravy. Almost all types of pan sauces start with what you see here in the pan. I am going to cover two main types of these today, a gravy and an au jus. Really the only difference between these two is the method in putting them together and what is put into them. Essentially, a gravy is an au jus thickened with some type of starch, usually flour. Since a gravy is a thickened au jus, I will start with the au jus first. The first thing you need to do is to get the little bits of flavor off the bottom of the pan so they can become part of the sauce. For that you need some type of water-type liquid to dissolve the bits of flavor. This is called deglazing. You can use anything that is mostly water, including water, but water doesn't have much flavor. For my au jus today, I'm going to use 1 cup of white Grape-Peach juice. Step 1 is to put the pan over a medium burner and pour in the white Grape-Peach juice. Now stir slowly to dissolve as much of this off the bottom of the pan as you can. You're going to do this until the pan looks clean on the bottom. Then stir in the thyme and the ketchup. Now you can measure it if you want, but I'm just going to ballpark it. Once you've got everything good and dissolved, stir in your beef broth. If you have an assistant available, have him grind in a few grinds of black pepper. Okay, that's good. Now you're going to want to stir this until it cooks down by half. And then the sauce is done. Salt to taste at this point. You don't want to add salt until the end of this process, because if you add salt at the start, as the sauce concentrates, it'll end up tasting like the Great Salt Lake. Also, if you're using a commercial beef broth, you may already have more than enough salt in here to begin with. Camera. Now I will turn the drippings in this pan into gravy. The first step this time will be to make a roux in another pan. We do this by combining a 1/4 cup of oil with 2 tablespoons of butter. Melt the butter into this oil, and once the butter is melted, let this cook until it stops bubbling. This is to get the water from the butter cooked away. Now stir in 6 tablespoons of flour and cook this over medium heat until it takes on a golden color. Without cooking this at all, this is what is called a white roux. And what we're after is the first level of a cooked roux, a blonde roux. This is what a brown roux will end up looking like. Remove from the heat and set aside for now. Place on your heat your pan with the drippings. Pour into the pan your beef broth. And stir slowly, like you did with the Au Jus, to deglaze the pan. Do this until the bottom of the pan looks clean. Once this is done, stir in 1/2 teaspoon of thyme and a few grinds of coarse black pepper. Bring this to a boil, so you want to turn it up. Bring this to a boil and have an assistant pour the roux in while you stir the mixture. Cook this until it thickens and add salt and pepper to taste. Use your whisk to put it in there. We want all of that as we can get. That's our thickening power. That's all there really is to it. More advanced gravies will just add more to this, or perhaps milk or other flavorings at this point. So there you have it. That is a simple gravy. It's already thickened.
What to do with the gravy is up to you, but my favorite thing to use an au jus or gravy on is mashed potatoes. Making mashed potatoes is easy, and most of you know what they are. My method of making them adds a twist. We need 2 medium-sized potatoes, generally are a serving of mashed potatoes. Select an appropriate amount of potatoes to cook according to how many people you are serving. And 1 tablespoon of butter is per serving. Then add milk or broth to the desired smoothness. Step 1 for mashed potatoes is select some nice looking potatoes. And then wash them with a vegetable brush clean. Now step 2 is slice those potatoes up into 1/2 inch cubes. This will help potatoes cook more evenly and mash more easily.
It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash.
Put the potatoes in a pot filled with water. Add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And don't worry, the salt and the water will be poured off at the end of cooking. Boil the potatoes on medium-high heat until they are fork tender. Simmer the potatoes until they are fork tender, which means you can take a knife or a fork, stab it through a potato and give it a twist. It breaks apart. That is ready to be mashed. Take the potatoes off the heat and pour off the water. Careful, this water is scalding hot.
Let's talk about mashers. A good masher can be hard to find. Most that are made now are very hard to use and result in lumpy potatoes. That isn't bad if chunks in the mix is what you are after, but if light and fluffy potatoes is what you want, then you want to find a masher like this one. Most out there now are mainly made with a large coiled wire. Same kind of handle, just large coiled wire. And they will at least work, but require more work to do the job. If you want fluffy potatoes, you just got to work it a whole lot more. This one is akin to a ricer with very large holes. Now this one is okay, but because of its light construction, will not last very long when used to mash with, and it is mostly just for show. Isn't he cute?
Aww. Now you are ready to mash. Flavor is up to you, but I like to use 1 tablespoon of butter per serving. This is about 8 servings worth, so I use the whole stick. Put it in there and let it melt. Now that the butter has softened, now it can be mashed. Smash the potatoes.
It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. It did the monster mash. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son.
Add a few grinds of pepper. See how you like it. Just a few.
He got on chains backed by his baying hound.
And this is the point where you can add some milk or broth. I like milk. Now, there's no science involved with milk or any of the other liquids. Just put it in until it's to the smoothness you want. This will change every time, because every potato is different.
Out from his coffin, Drax's voice did ring. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. Open the lid.
Looks like you got it about right.
Fist and said, "Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist?" It's now the mash. It's now the monster mash.
That's mashed potatoes.
It's now a graveyard smash. It's caught on in a flash.
I like to keep the skins on for 2 reasons. One, it lets people know there are real potatoes in here, and second, the nutrition in a potato is in the skins. You'll get more out of your potatoes by keeping the skins on than peeling them does.
And do my graveyard smash. You'll catch on with a flash.
You can mash.
Then you can monster mash. Mash food! Easy, Gore, you impetuous young boy. Mash food!
Monster mash. Monster mash.
Mash food!
Cut.
Select some nice looking potatoes and then clean them off with a vegetable brush.